LF Tribers.
What's going on, guys? Thank you for joining us today. We hope you are having a beautiful early fall day. Fall is
Upon us.
and one of my favorite times of year, you know, being in Florida where we were the last, Sarah grew up there. I was there for about 15 years, and the repressive heat and humidity of summer finally started to let up, usually end of September.
Yeah.
And it was just always very welcomed.
Yes.
So hope you are enjoying that. If you're coming to us from a humid place, less humidity, and hope it's not too cold if you're north up there. So today we have Dr. Jennifer Lagrotte, and she is a therapist in practice in Florida. So hopefully she's enjoying the lower humidity, and specializes in working with couples. And today's topic, we dig into how to stay connected when you have a hectic schedule. But this can be really applied to anyone. Hopefully you don't have a hectic schedule, but I'm willing to bet 99% of our listeners don't just hang out all day and have nothing to do.
Right. Or maybe you don't have a hectic schedule, but you've been together for a long time like we have. And so you come across challenges of, connection and wanting to reconnect with your partner.
Yeah, so Dr. Jennifer gives us some great tools, practical tools that you can implement today in your relationship throughout the day. Really, we kind of start with when you wake up all the way to when you go to bed, some things to do at the beginning and middle and end of your day to stay connected.
And we've gone ahead and compiled all the tips that Jennifer has given us into a little cheat sheet for you guys. And we've actually added some more of what we've gone over in the interview. So you can download that free guide at our website, idopodcast.com/166 download. Today's episode is 166. Download. So, and also the links will be in the show notes page, which is idopodcast.com/166, or in the podcast description.
Yeah, check it out. Sarah loves giving the URL. I imagine I listen to podcasts. I'm like cleaning, or, well, maybe not cleaning, but I'm working out or driving, and someone like says a URL, and I'm like, I am not writing this down right now.
I always try to remember it, and that's why I say it.
But Sarah tries to remember. So maybe you're like Sarah, maybe you're like me. If not,
either way, we got you taken care of.
We got you taken care of. And as always, we really appreciate you guys listening, giving us those 5-star reviews on iTunes. All of you that are in the Spark My Relationship course, we really appreciate the positive feedback. It's awesome to see you guys implementing these strategies and having results.
And if you're not in the course and you want to find out more, we have a special offer just for you guys, just for I Do Podcast listeners. And you can access that offer at sparkmyrelationship.com/unlock. And again, that link will be
in the show notes for people like me that just want to click on it.
But yeah, it's a special offer just for you guys with added bonuses and great pricing. So we hope you guys check it out. And we hope you enjoy today's episode. Hi, Jennifer. Thanks so much for joining us on the show today.
Hi. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Jennifer, we've given our listeners a little overview, told them about yourself. Why don't you take a minute and tell us why you enjoy helping people improve their relationships?
Well, I am a couples therapist, and I'm very passionate about helping couples create intimacy. And most people, when they think of that word, they think, oh, it takes so much time and effort, and I'm so busy. But really, creating intimacy is more about finding like little small connections throughout the day. And I really like people to understand that you can stay connected and be a couple without spending so much time on your relationship.
Well, that is what we are going to zero in and focus on today, and something that I know Sarah and I have trouble with, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners, that is staying connected. Really, in today's modern world, a lot of us, I know we are super busy. We're parents. A lot of our listeners are busy. So staying connected seems like it's harder than ever before. So let's jump in and talk about, I guess, how couples can drift apart and not have that intimacy, that connection, and then we'll talk about how we can create it.
Okay. Well, like you said, couples are so busy, and even when they're together, there's so many things that pull them apart. Whether it's technology, whether it's work that you have to do after you come home, whether it's children or other family members, anything can really keep you apart. So you have to make an active connection in order to make sure that you're working on your relationship. Just like you work on all the other aspects of your life, you need to work on your relationship to stay connected. Would you like me to jump into the first area of connection?
Yeah, but I just want to make a point of how easy it is to lose that connection. Like you said, you mentioned all the ways that we can become disconnected. And Sarah and I, we have a relationship podcast. We're constantly interviewing people like yourself, and we're very aware that relationships take work, right, but we still get disconnected. We still
struggle.
We get busy, and I want to point that out.
Like I said, a great way, one of the major ways that unfortunately people are getting disconnected is technology. And technology is really playing a part in couples' relationships. And I like to suggest to people that when they're working on their relationship, that technology is put away. And you can easily get distracted by being on a phone or something that lights up on your iPad, or even some couples believe they want to watch a TV show to stay connected. But if your phone's right there and you're constantly checking your phone, you're not really staying connected. So to me, staying connected is looking at each other and having a conversation.
Yeah, it seems like such a radical idea.
Yeah, so anything that I suggest, and even I've had this talk with people about when a date starts. Yes, you're supposed to date, no matter if you're married or you're living together. But a lot of times what will happen is you'll keep your phone on the table, or you'll be texting with someone in the car on the date, and just those little things kind of push you apart and put you in your own world instead of in each other's world.
That's important to point out, because you probably think you're doing something innocent. Oh, let me just text back my friend on the way to the movie.
Exactly.
But yeah, the other partner's going to feel that, and you might not even be like conscious of it, but it's just these little things add up, and yeah, they do. So let's talk about the little things that we can do to keep us connected throughout the day. And I know you mentioned date night. We'll get into that, but how can we keep that connection?
Well, one thing that I think is really important, which a lot of times you forget to do, is greetings. Saying hello to your partner when they walk in through the door. You're busy, you're cooking dinner, you're on your phone. And so what I like to tell people is you need to, even if it takes you 30 seconds, and the easiest way to do this, because sometimes it gets confusing, well, who's supposed to greet who? The person that's walking in the door should come over to the person that's home, and you two look at each other, either kiss, hug, talk for 30 seconds, and then you continue on with your day. Now, a lot of times, some people will tell me that they'll greet their dogs, they'll greet their kids, and I ask them if they're greeting their partner, and they're like, no, they're off doing something. So it's really, really important to just greet each other. That's a really small connection that you can do that will help, especially start the evening off on the right foot.
I love that you clarified that the person coming into the house should be the one to kind of make that effort to greet, because so many times you can get bogged down on, oh, well, I'm greeting all the time, or this person isn't greeting. And then you kind of get resentful of who's greeting or not. And so if you just kind of make it like an effort to whoever is coming into the home is making that greeting, I think it'll be a lot easier to just always make it a habit and do it in your relationship.
Right. And I have learned throughout the years that it's easier that if you tell someone, well, okay, if they're coming into the house, then it's clearer and it makes more sense, and it alleviates the arguing that happens with who's supposed to do who. So you're 100% right about that.
But I will say, like a lot of things we talk about, don't assume your partner is going to do it, and take that initiative. So if they come home and they don't say anything, act first. Say don't say, oh, I'm just going to wait for them to do the right thing. Then you kind of get in this bad cycle. And we just watched this. There's a sitcom, and the mom's in the morning getting ready for the kids to go to school and everything, and you hear a door open and close. She's like, did whatever her husband named, did he just leave and go to work?
Didn't even say bye.
And it was just like a really funny, quirky thing, but it was hilarious. He just left and didn't say bye and so you can, it goes both ways. It goes leaving too. Like I'm just picturing that scene and it was quite funny, but yeah, make that effort, come over to your partner before you're leaving, whoever it is. It seems like the person leaving would be the one that should initiate it, but it's those little things.
You're right. It doesn't always work that way, and there's also a leaving ritual that you just hit on as well. And you should always, like, a really easy one to do there is to say, tell me one thing that's going to happen today in your life. So in the mornings are just as crazy as the evenings for most of us. We're getting to work. We have if we have kids, we're getting the kids out the door. So staying connected in the morning is just as difficult as the evenings. So you're 100% right. That sitcom is based on reality, what people do. But it takes just a few seconds to say, tell me one thing that is going to happen in your day today. And you know what you can do with that when you follow up? Like, let's say I say, okay, well, I'm going to get my hair cut today, or I'm going to have a doctor's appointment today. Well, then you can follow up and you can chat throughout the day. Oh, how was your hair? How was your hair appointment? Or how was your doctor's appointment? So you have something, and it feels good. It feels good when your partner asks you, and it feels good when they remember and they talk. You guys talk throughout the day. It's
so funny because this seems like just such a basic thing. Like this could be like coupledom 101, like when you're in fifth grade, the things to do, but we don't do them. It's easy, especially in a long-term relationship, to slip in to habits, and you take your partner for granted, and it really does make a difference. And it does feel good when your partner is asking about what you're going to do for the day, or when you get home, when your partner asks, how was your day? What did you do? And it's just funny because it's like, it seems like such an elementary thing, but it really is. When you think about it, it's easy to do when you're cognizant of it, and it can make such a big difference. I agree 100%. And it's you're right.
we don't do it. And what I try to explain to people all the time is that if you miss a detail at work, you're going to notice that. But if you miss a detail in your relationship, you're not going to notice that at first. But over time, you will start to notice it, and you don't want to. And none of these things are set in stone. Like you said, if one person doesn't do it, then the other person needs to. There's no quid pro quo. There's no tick for tack here. You're both in this together, so you both need to be making an effort to stay connected.
Let's talk about some more things, but I want to ask you, why do you think that we slip into
the comfort zone? Yeah.
And like you said, with work, we would notice, but in our relationship, it kind of just goes by the wayside.
We spend so much effort on things that we need to spend effort on. And and this is my personal take on this, when you love your partner, you just feel that they're going to be there for you, especially when it's unconditional love. And a lot of times you're like, okay, well, let me just get everything done and then I'll have time for my partner. And that doesn't happen because you're so busy, you're so overworked that you just don't have the time. You're exhausted. And you're always going to be that exhausted. But just us talking about this will make us realize that we need to put ourselves first and our relationships first before all those other details.
That's a great point. And that's why we love doing this podcast, is we get that reminder ourselves, and we get to share it with our listeners. So, and we need it. You always need it, even when you're thinking about improving your relationship. Life is hectic. It gets busy, and suddenly you get out of that good routine that you established. So just being aware and I really love these greetings. It's an easy, simple thing to do. Be aware of it, implement it. Are there any other things that we can do in our lives that we can implement easily to stay connected?
But before we continue on, we want to tell you about today's sponsors.
Today's episode is brought to you by JJ Virgin's 7-Day Stop, Drop, and Swap Challenge.
The 7-Day Challenge is designed to help you stop classic symptoms of food intolerance and drop up to 7 pounds in 7 days by swapping out 7 problem foods for healthy, tasty alternatives. And if you don't remember from last week's episode, the 7 problem foods are gluten, soy, dairy, eggs, peanuts, corn, and sweeteners.
I would say sweeteners are a big problem for me and most of our listeners.
Anything with sugar.
For those of you who signed up to start the challenge with us after last week's episode, today is day number 1.
Whoop, whoop. So today I swapped out my soy milk for unsweetened coconut milk. I swapped out my sandwich bread for lettuce wraps and almond butter for my beloved peanut butter. And I will have my JJ Virgin yummy chocolate shake this afternoon after my workout.
The 7-Day Challenge involves drinking 2 smoothies a day plus 1 more traditional meal. Or if you're not a smoothie kind of person, which I guess they do exist, and that's okay. No judgments here. They offer plenty of extra recipes if you prefer to only do 1 or no shakes during the day. They also provide free guides to help people adapt the challenge if they're vegan, eating paleo, or feeding a family.
So if you want to join the challenge, it is not too late. You can sign up for the challenge at jjvirgin.com/I-do, and you will get your 4 days of prep, and then you'll be able to start the challenge. Again, that is jjvirgin.com/I-do to sign up for the free challenge. Today's episode is also sponsored by our course, Spark My Relationship.
We started I Do podcast to get information to improve our own relationship. We thought at the very least we'll be able to do that, and then to share it with our listeners. The guests are great, and we've gotten a ton of valuable information, but we found that if we don't actually deliberately take the time to implement the strategies and tools that our guests give us, we weren't seeing the real lasting benefits that we desired in our relationship. And that's why we created the Spark My Relationship course. We've collaborated with 15 psychologists and therapists to create a comprehensive relationship course that not only teaches you the skills needed to create a successful and lasting relationship, but the tools to execute it.
By enrolling in the online course, you'll have access to the same strategies and tools that marriage therapists teach their clients, including therapist-taught video lessons with workbooks and exercises to help you work towards accomplishing your relationship goals in less than 90 days. You'll also learn how to detox unhelpful relationship habits and learn healthy ways to interact. You'll learn how to disagree respectfully and communicate mindfully, as well as how to improve intimacy and reignite your sex life, and so much more. Spark My Relationship isn't just a course for struggling couples. It's a course for couples who want to see their relationship flourish. If this is you, then you are a perfect fit for the course. So for a special offer for our I Do podcast listeners, head over to sparkmyrelationship.com/unlock. Again, for 30% off the course, plus special bonuses just for I Do podcast listeners, visit sparkmyrelationship.com/unlock.
Mm-hmm. Well, another one is going to bed. For the majority of the people that I have met, nobody goes to bed exactly at the same time. And if they do, you're either reading or you're watching TV. There needs to be a small ritual of good night. There needs to be those actual words. Good night. You can hug, you can kiss, you can, if you want, you can have a 5-minute conversation about your day. I'm not saying, but there needs to be some transition between going to bed and not going to bed. Again, it's another just really simple one that we overlook all the time. You know, you could be watching TV 1 minute and then the next minute your partner's in bed and already asleep. And you're like, what happened? So it's important to stay connected throughout the day. And for me, the nighttime one is a really, really important one, just like the greeting when you come home and the talking about the day in the morning.
So are you recommending that people should not go to bed at different times, or that it's okay as long as you have a ritual?
That's not realistic. You know, like I said, I mean, we're talking about everyone having busy lives, and you know, you can't expect people to go to bed at the same time. But when someone is going to bed, that person should be the one that reaches out and says, okay, I'm going to bed right now. I love you. I hope you have a good night, a kiss, and then you go to bed. Because, and even couples that travel, you know, there's a lot of times where fights happen all the time when couples travel, because you don't talk, you don't connect. I thought you were supposed to be calling me. I thought you were supposed to be calling me. And so there just needs to always be that connection at the very end of the day with, I love you, good night. You can even say have sweet dreams, whatever you want to say, but just connection at the end of the night.
One of the things that I feel is valuable is to think about early in the relationship. And would you just not say goodnight if you guys have just moved in together and, you know, you're in that honeymoon stage and you just like roll over and go to sleep? Probably not. Or same thing with getting home. You would probably greet your partner and you'd be making that effort to put your best self forward. because we just get comfortable and we can take our partner for granted over time, we might not be doing those things. So I try to picture early in the relationship as kind of an example of the way I should act, and just remember that we did that before. We put our best selves forward, and that we should continue to do that for the health of the relationship. Absolutely. And on the flip side of the going to bed is waking up, just like on the flip side of going and leaving. And Sarah and I, in our sleepy stumble out of bed, we try
not to wake up Stella,
wake up our daughter, have our kind of morning coffee ritual, and just say good morning. And I know I feel better starting the day that way than if Stella wakes up before us and she's screaming and crying. Usually our little ritual doesn't happen as planned. Yeah. So that's another way to kind of create that connection and start off the day on a positive foot forward. Right. And, when you do add children into this, you have to remember that you were a couple before you were a parent. And so parenting doesn't take over you being a couple. And so it's so important to still find a time to be a couple, even though you are a parent. And it doesn't always happen. When people become parents, they lose being a couple an awful lot. And so having these little connections in place does help couples stay connected, even with the busy lives of being a parent. It's incredibly important for everyone, but especially if you're a parent. Stella is she just turned 3 actually. And Sarah and I were talking the other day, and we have not had a night alone, gone away. Yeah, gone away, like a vacation, since she was born, or probably before that too. And because we live away from our relatives, and it just hasn't happened. We've been traveling a lot, and we need to make that happen just to create that connection as a couple. And it's not the end of the world, and we've been trying to do date nights, but even that is certainly harder to do when you have a kid, and making that effort, you really have to be intentional about it. And it's not just going to happen on its own, especially if you're busy, and especially if you have little ones. Yes, absolutely. And what I always try to suggest to people is, especially with little ones, and we have to work with reality, is, hiring a babysitter is stressful. It costs money. You can create date night at home. And I actually encourage people, even the people that can go out, to have date night at home. And date night at home is not a 5-minute connection, but it's also something that you put away the phones, you light candles if you need to, you make dinner together, you play a board game. I have relationship cards that we use, that we talk about different topics. But there are a lot of ways to stay connected, even with the busy lives of parenthood. But we don't do it. And I'm glad that we're talking today, because I want to stress to people that you can fit it into your lives if you want to, for sure.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the relationship cards you just mentioned?
Well, I have them on my site. I can definitely send you a link. I use something called Table Topics, and the Gottmans have an app. And I also use another book that's called Just Ask. And they're basically conversation starters. Because when you're in a relationship for a while, especially if you live together, if you have kids, if you have animals, you forget how to date. You forget what to talk about. And so I try to stress to people that they need to remember how to date, and sometimes you need some help to do that. So these aren't things about your relationship. They're just general topics. Here, well, one example can be, what's one place that you would still like to travel? Would you like to be, a superhero, or would you like to be a normal person? If you had any superpower, what would your superpower be? And so they're just general topics that people can do that really help you just talk. Just not about bills, work, life, kids, stress. Just have a conversation. And it's really nice.
I love that. I have a cute story to share. Chase and I had a date night a couple weeks ago, and in one of our lessons from our online course, Spark My Relationship, there is a exercise where it's these 36 questions that Dr. Arthur Aaron created. And so we actually printed out those questions and took them with us to our date night, and everything else was off topic except for these questions. And we had so much fun. We learned a lot about each other. That's kind of crazy that after 10 years, we're still learning stuff, but it was so much fun. And it was kind of just exhilarating because we're doing something new and we're learning new things about each other.
Tell her about the guys at the table next to us.
What about
when I got up?
What?
I went to the bathroom, and the guys asked you.
Oh, they were like, "Are you guys dating or married?" He said, "Are you dating?" And then I was like, "No, we're married." He's like, "Do you have children?" I'm like, "Yeah." It was so funny
because the way we were talking was like we were on a first date.
Exactly. I think they overheard our conversation. It was so funny, but it was like
That's wonderful.
super cool.
Yeah, and like you said, it's just it seems simple, like conversation with your partner, but when you're together for a while, and I know we have to have a rule, like, all right, we're not talking about Stella, or we're not talking about work, especially we work together on a lot of the things we do. So that can consume your conversation, and it might not even feel bad. Like, it feels good talking about our daughter, but it's like that the people who we were before we were parents kind of disappear. And that's a part that you want to keep, you want to nurture, and not just be the parents of Stella. Like, well, no, we're Sarah and Chase, the couple, and we're also parents of Stella, but not only one or the other.
Right. And I also want to stress that even if couples don't have children, they fall into this trap as well. And, it's an easy trap to fall into because there's so much that needs to get talked about. And you can definitely talk about all that stuff. But date nights, whether you assign them at home or you assign them out, should have certain topics that are off limits. I completely agree. My husband and I, we use this stuff out on dates, and we learned, like you guys, we've kind of been together around the same time frame, and we learn a lot of stuff about each other that is nice. And we leave the date being like, okay, wow, we're the last ones here. That's great. So yes, it is really nice. It's nice also, all of the people that I work with know that I don't suggest anything that I don't do myself. And I fully believe in everything that I do for other people, for myself as well.
That's great. And like, we can almost relate to that because we take the advice that our listeners give us very seriously, and we try to implement it. Our guests. What did I say?
Listeners. They try to give us advice, but
yeah. So it's important to be able to really believe in what you're doing, like you're saying. So that's awesome. Are there any other tips or advice to connect in our busy lives?
Sure. One that's really simple and really easy. We've kind of been talking about it, but ask each other out on a date. And it's not, oh, hey, let's grab dinner tonight. And I don't know how you two did it, but the really cool thing about dating was when you knew someone really, really liked you was at the end of the date, they asked you for another date. And that is something that always feels good. And I really encourage people to ask each other out on a date. Hey, would you like to go out with me Wednesday night? And, let's make plans and let's do this. Let's get excited about it. I don't want it to be an afterthought. I want it to be present and encouraged and to be excited about, having something to get excited about.
I love that. And a lot of it is the delivery and the intention. It's not just like, have put it on the calendar and kind of a passive thing or just not intentional. Like you said, imagine when you were dating and how you would ask, if you want to go on another date or how you would receive that, and try to put yourself in that frame of mind, because I think otherwise, like, just going through the motions is one thing, and I guess it's better than nothing, but like really getting into it and creating that intimacy of that, I guess, like a unfamiliarity, because we become so familiar and comfortable with our partner. Right. That can be such a great exercise. Exactly.
It feels good. It feels good. It makes you feel wanted by your partner and makes you feel loved and cherished, and it's something to look forward to. And I want everyone to remember to continue to date each other always and forever. It sounds like you guys really have gotten that down, and that's wonderful. That makes me happy, very happy to hear.
We try, but
we have a lot of work to do.
We have a lot of work.
We're getting there.
Yeah. Well, is there any other advice you'd like to leave our listeners with today?
Yeah, I just, my general theme here is I don't want to add any additional stress to anyone's life. I want these check-ins to be quick and painless, and I want you to just try them out and see how much they create intimacy in any relationship, because they really do. And they are very helpful. And I want everyone to check in with each other throughout the day. Be flirty, like each other. And when you're doing these other ones, you're able to do it, and you're able to really like your partner outside of all the household chores and all that stuff that you have to do. So that's my goal here today, is to just help people understand that they could stay connected by not having to add too many things to their lives.
Well, Jennifer, our listeners can find all of the links from today's show at idopodcast.com and also in the show notes. And we really appreciate you coming on the show today. And why don't you tell our listeners where they can find you online, and then we'll say goodbye.
Okay. My website is face2facetherapy.com, all spelled out. And I have tons of resources on there, blogs, articles, videos. If anyone wants to check anything out, please feel free to do that. And I really appreciate you guys having me on the show. It was great to talk to you.
Great. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We hope you guys enjoyed today's interview with Jennifer. If you guys want to check out the free guide that we created for this show, you can get it at idopodcast.com/116download. That's today's episode 166 download. You can sign up for it there. We'll email it to you, and it will include all the tips from today's episode, plus some more. So if you're looking for more easy, simple ways to keep you connected with your partner, then you'll definitely want to check out this guide that we made from today's interview. And while you're on our website, if you guys haven't checked out our Happy Couple Challenge, please do so. It's a 14-day challenge where we send you an email every day with simple, doable challenges to help strengthen and improve your relationship. And there are also a lot of free resources and guides that we've created to complement a lot of our episodes, and you can access those on our website as well. As also joining our Love Tribe on Facebook. We have a private Facebook group called the Love Tribe. If you're on Facebook, you can search Love Tribe Fam, and it should come up. And it's just a private Facebook group where of over about 1,000 people now, and we're just all here to support each other. So people ask for relationship advice or questions, or just kind of share their stories. And so it's a really great community of all you guys, and we're really enjoying watching that group grow. So we hope you guys enjoyed today's episode, and we'll see you next week.